Good evening, everyone. Cool. Hope everyone's week's been good. So let's switch things over. Cool. Alrighty, so we're back at it with some more .NET Aspire stuff. Kind of kicking off where we left off Tuesday. So we got this kind of role-playing system thingy I'm building, which eventually we'll use AI, but for the moment we're just keeping it simple. Kind of waiting for some AI stuff to happen with Olama, and also some other things that are happening which are just kind of influencing how much access I have to kind of AI stuff in Azure and things like that at the moment, which is fun. So that should resolve in a couple of weeks. We'll see what happens. But for now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick overview of what we've done. So just go through the different steps, make sure it's running locally, and then I want to try and get this deployed into Azure using GitHub and GitHub Actions. So we'll go through that, see how far we get. Cool, so just as an overview of what we have, so we've got our AI role-playing system, we've got a service host because we're using Aspire. So that gives us that centralized host. We get our service defaults, which again allows us to define some defaults for each of our services. And then we have a library. So this is allowing us to have a central code repository for things like this is the AI service. So that's shared again across multiple of the applications. Have a front end, which is in Blazor server, and we've got a few pages in there. Just one at the moment that's functional. So our game master one, which calls our client. With the clients defined here. Then we have our three APIs, which are all kind of similar. So these would be what connects through to the AI backend once we work out what that backend is looking like. So we will kind of just go from there. So actually that front end there is the old front end. So that one was done not in Blazor, that was done in Razor Pages. This one is done in Blazor. I'll have to remove that so I don't get confused, but that's okay. So if we do a build, we should be able to build everything. Couple of little warning messages, but that's fine. And we run and we do that app host. Just make that bigger. And then that's going ahead and running. And then we can access the dashboard from that link. Just pop up here. And there we go. We can see we've got our sites all running. So, cool. So I think what I want to do now, so I've pushed this up into GitHub. Refresh that. So do the push. So this has all been pushed now up into GitHub. So we've got that accessible here. So, and what we've done just at the last moment, so it's set up, there was this Azure YAML set up here. And we were getting ready to try and set up our pipeline with the Azure Developer CLI. So let's stop that running. So this is AZD. So we did the AZD init. So I think what we want is now AZD pipeline. So we want to configure deployment pipeline. Apparently this is in beta, but we'll have a look at it anyway. So this is integrating your application with deployment pipelines. Okay, let's go have a quick squiz at the documentation and see how that goes. Cool, alright, so how do we configure a pipeline and push updates using AZD? So we've got we don't need that for this example. To give me an example. So GitHub Actions will be in GitHub Workflow. That's fine. So okay. So to configure it, use the AZD pipeline config command, and which handles tasks such as the Azure subscription. So cool. So we do that. So that'll create the service principal too, which is good. Useful to have that service principal defined for us, so that we don't have to go ahead and start setting that up manually, which is good. Cool. So just getting random pop-ups on the screen at the moment. Just checking everything is running well. Yep, all looks good. All looks good. Cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and then supply the request to get our information. Alright, so let's run the command and see what happens. Aha. First things first, let's log in. And that's gonna bounce me to another screen, but that's fine. I can click login over there. It's all good. That'll do the login for us. So we're now logged into Azure. Now let's do. Okay, so expecting either GitHub or AZD folder in the root repository. Okay, so we don't have that yet. That's fine. So it's actually looking. Do we need to have created something first or not? Let's go back to the doc. So may or may not include a default. So it's talking about the Azure-dev, which doesn't. We've got this Azure the YAML here. Well, let's see if it. Well, create a folder. Flows. I think that's what it wants. No, just workflow. Always get that wrong. I always think it's flows because you can have multiple, but it is just flow. Alright. Oops, we already did that. Let's try. No, it still needs. We do have that there. Okay, so that's fine. We can put that there. Your template has a pipeline definition. Okay. Alright, cool. Well, let's just grab that for the moment. I think that's what it is after. That's giving me some errors. This property is not allowed. Excuse me, did I not copy that correctly? That looks fine to me, I don't know. I don't think that schema is correct. Where are you getting that schema from? Excuse me, where are you pulling that schema from? It's not what we're doing here. I'm just gonna close it. No, it's still. I don't know why it's doing this, so I'm just gonna delete that. Why is it doing that? That's new to me. Let's see if we can. No, I am still missing something key here. Let's see if we can. No, I am still missing something key here. I am still missing something key here. Let's see if we can. No, I am still missing something key here. 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 I am still missing something key Okay. Yep, we're already initialized. Yeah, I'm not sure why that schema, that's got a weird schema. Okay. So, what am I missing? Expected either GitHub or Azure folder. We've got the GitHub folder here. That's some environmental stuff. Maybe it needs to be, maybe it needs to be called Azure-dev. Maybe I need it to be named. Hey Void, sorry, I just saw the chat. Yeah, logins always. You always forget to do it the first time and then you're fine. Okay. No. What's going on here? I'm clearly missing a step. Offline config dev? No? Alright, let's go and have a look at this file here. I have a feeling this file is going to be pretty much the same as the one we just put in. Yeah, that's going to be just what we put in. So we'll go and just replace it, see what that schema does. Yeah, I don't know why it has decided on some weird schema, but let's pop this down again. Okay, that's looking better. It's not throwing me some weird errors. Nope, no configuration found. Okay. That's all fine. Set require. Alright. Okay. Let's go back to here. Okay, well, let's try to be a bit more verbose. Okay. No CSV provider configuration found. Expecting either GitHub or Azure folder in the repository root. So this is the repository root. And I've got us.github. Yeah, this is being very strange. push this one up. No, still no city provider. Alright, let's go and ask Google. So I don't think Copilot's going to be able to help us with this one. Okay. So what's going on here? The Empress in City Infra. Okay, apparently they have support, so let's enable that. Because a lot of this could be because we are running into issues with, or we're not running, we're using something that's not fully released yet, which is Aspire. Could be causing us some issues, but that's okay. Alright, so we have asked it to do an infra synth, and this has given us some bicep, which is good. I like to see bicep. So let's have a look. So we've got environment name and environment location. Cool. And then we've got resource group, resources.bicep, and then we've got a whole separate out. So resources.bicep, what are we looking at? So we're getting a user assigned identity, container registry, role assignments, log analytics, container app environment, linking that to so getting the workload of consumption, linking that through to log analytics. Okay, so that's base infra, yep, sure. Okay. No, so it still hasn't moved us anywhere forward. What's going on here? No, we won't bother with that one. Don't need Git lens at the moment. So templates may or may not include so it's just the AZD template list, that's fine, we're not. So .github workflow. We got the Azure.dev. So make sure you have pipeline template, which is what we've done here. So this is the pipeline template. Okay, so we've got that in place. Okay. Go check. Did we? We pushed up the actions. if I messed something up here. Okay. Wait. I'm just going to go check something because I think... Did I put a typo in or did the documentation have a typo? So, get back. Documentation has a typo, I think. Let's go confirm that. That looks better. Okay, we're now also pushing up Bicep, which is fine. And it's complaining. That's fine, we can complain about those. Okay. We now have. Okay, cool. So. Before we get too much further ahead, I do want to go and raise. This is one that I can raise a PR for documentation. I can't remember if I set this up before. Because I want to put in a PR so I can help with the documentation. Because this is missing an S. And that would certainly be an issue if you're trying to run this and it's not running. There's usually at the bottom here, there's usually a link to GitHub so that you can raise that. Now that's just the contributors. Can I edit? So I want to do an edit, but I need to raise it as a PR. So let's go. And these are all Microsoft E people. This one person there. No, I'll do this later because it requires a bit of configuration setup, but I've recorded it now, so I should be able to go back and check that and see to remind myself that I need to do that. Okay, cool. Well, now that we got that solved, let's try this again. Here we go. That's much better. So this should now be setting up all of the configuration and the authentication parts with the provider. Alright, so which subscription to use? Yep, we'll use that one. We want to deploy this in Australia. Let's do Southeast. It's close to where I am. We log into GitHub, login using the GitHub CLI. I don't think we'll use HPS. Say yes, login with the web browser, and we'll copy that. It'll pop up on another screen. We'll authenticate, continue. Authorize. I'll use GitHub Mobile to do my 2FA. Okay, congratulations, all set. Okay, so just bouncing a couple of messages. Alright, so we're creating the directory of the Git repository, creating the service principal. That's great. Cool. So going ahead and doing all that stuff. So that should be getting us done. So that's giving us that credential. It's setting repo name, setting all of those variables. Cool, it's set up to GitHub action secrets. Yes, let's do that. Alright, so that should have kicked off the pipeline. There we go. And you have a pipeline config, so configure Azure Developer Pipeline. Let's go have a look at what it's running, hey? So doing a login with our federated credentials. They gave some provisioning error. Following workloads must be installed. Ha. Cool. Well, that's something we can resolve. Let's zoom out. I'm zoomed right in at the moment. So we failed on the provision, which is fine. So it's run as a provision. What we don't have is we don't have the Aspire workload installed for coming here. So we need to check that. If I was just telling you that the build failed, yes it did. So what we'll need to do here is we will need to add a step. And then we'll run. It's not ACD, this will be the Aspire. And we need workload. Oh, I need to set, sorry, it's very bright. I need to set that to dark mode at some point. Alright. So he wants us to do an update, and then so we can do so we'll do the .NET workload update, and we'll do .NET workload Aspire. I think that is the correct .NET workload install Aspire. Let's make sure capitalization doesn't get out of hand. So add that in. Now, do I need to do a flag here actually? Let me check. Because it may, like, what we don't want to do is we don't want it to ask us anything is in a pipeline, because that'll break the pipeline. No, that seems okay. And that seems okay. I shouldn't ask. So we should just now be able to do a push. Alrighty, and let's go back. Let's see if that's helped us out at all. build's running, so we're doing the login with the credentials. Alright, so we're getting the Aspire workload. Okay, so that's giving us a install workload Aspire. Now provisioning the infrastructure. Cool. Now, interestingly, I don't think I've told it anything about what any of this should be called. I haven't told it any names that I can think of about resource groups or what's called different services. So it'll be interesting to see what it actually deploys. Also, I haven't told it anything about SKUs. We know it's going to do a consumption SKU, which is good, because that means it won't really charge us anything unless we're actively running it. Okay, so it's called the resource group, the environment. So so we said the environment was dev. So it's called the resource group dev. So if we go into Azure, there we go, and RG dev, so nothing in it yet. Oh, and we had a failure. Apparently Australia Southeast is not available for the resource type managed environments. That's a pain. My bad for trying for Australia Southeast. Let's try and update that. Let's go for did roll back anything. No, it left that there. So let's delete the resource group just to clean things up. We don't want it to hang around. Cool. All right, let's go see where can I define. Okay, so here's where we define the environment name. So here's where we'd be able to actually define that group. Environment name is coming in, location name is coming in as well. Now, Azure location, where are we getting that from? Are we getting that from here? Yeah, okay, so let's bump that down to east. Don't think we have any config, that's fine. Those are IDs, they're fine, they're not dangerous, they're not secrets. So, okay. We have that set to east now, so that should now propagate through this parameter for location, environment name still being used there. Kind of want to update this too, so let's update this as well. So let's call it RG PS PS East, and then environment. So we give it a bit more of a structured naming convention here. So we have a resource group for the system, which is called ARPS, and then we're putting the location and then the environment, and we're adding tags. We're adding the environment into the tags as well. Okay. Alrighty, so let's go and push that up. Alright, and back to our board. Now, important message for any kind of younger dev that's seen this, especially someone's getting started into DevOps. Seeing a heap of failures here is not a bad thing when you're doing development. So when you're defining your pipelines and when you're getting things set up, I tend to do things incrementally. So I will fix something, run it, it'll break. I'll fix another thing, run it, it'll break. What you might do in development is we might have testing frameworks, which means that cycle's a bit faster, it's a bit more local. In the terms of having CI/CD, there's not really a testing framework. Sorry. So there's no real testing framework, so you kind of have to test in the system, which means seeing lots of failures. And that's it, as long as the last one's green, that's all that matters when you're doing your initial configuration. Post that, yeah, you don't want it to be red when it's running in production, but still, red failures tell you something has happened. So they're still important, you should monitor them, you should watch them. But during development, don't get discouraged if you just see a huge amount of these all failed, because that just means you're progressing. As long as you're not pushing the same thing over and over again. Alright. And we have another... Why did you try and push for Australia Southeast again? Interesting. Why did you do that? Do I have... maybe I have them set up actions, because it might be pulling some secrets. It's general, secrets, variables, actions. Here we go. So what happened there is I went and updated it in this local environment file here, but it's copied across into GitHub, and it looks like that doesn't sync. So that's okay. We can come in here and change that. We can say update, and we can go to FA. So we're updating secrets and variables. Okay. So, yep, that's updated. So we should try now. Can I do a workload dispatch? I can. So this is called a workflow dispatch. Sorry, get the name right. That's here, workflow dispatch. So when you have that defined, it allows you to actually go into GitHub and run them manually and select your branch. It's super useful for when doing development, or when you know you have to manually run something sometimes. Alrighty, take 4, 5, whatever it is. Take 5. Number 5. Getting incrementally closer each time. Just check in the socials while we wait. Alright, doing the bicep file, treating subscriptions. We've set Australia East now, which is good. Now I didn't go and check had I actually deployed anything failed. And it failed, I reckon, because it was already deployed in Australia Southeast. There we go. So I need to go clean that up and try again. Yep, say invalid resource group location because the resource group already exists. So we're just going to rerun this job because we know we've made no code changes at all. We've just changed something within Azure. Oh, sorry, it's been a long day. Okay, firing off again. Looks like my camera's sitting a bit high, or I'm sitting a bit low. I'm kind of slouched back. I do want to fix the whole camera and microphone setup, but for now I think this is working. I think it's okay. Alright, so resource group deployed. Just realized what we should have done inside the bicep file is not this. We should have actually used the parameter location for that, but fix that later. For now, that's okay. But the more that you can parameterize, the better. Alrighty. Are we making any progress? It's telling us the resource group's there, but Azure is not. No, it's telling us the container registry is there now. Azure's just being a bit slow. Okay, that's fine. Sometimes the portal does take a while. There we go. So the reason I wanted to come into here, apart from we can start to see these things, we can also look at the deployment in here as well. Or not. Should be able to. I mean, it was telling us we could do it from here. I'll try. So I can see it from there, but we couldn't see it from the resource group itself. But we're now deploying resources. Something not found. Failed the log analytics workspace. I didn't expect it to fail that. Why did we fail that? Resource, I thought, were we not creating the log analytics workspace? Or was that expected? No, log analytics workspace was to be created. Interesting. So, yeah, so the resource that was not found. Okay. But you were creating that, weren't you? just looking through this, trying to work out, because it should have been creating that log analytics workspace as part of. Running into all the little roadblocks tonight. That's alright, this happens. The log analytics workspace did deploy, but maybe resource has been deleted. Why would the resource be deleted? It's very odd. Deployments no stacks found. I'm just gonna rerun it because some stuff was deployed. So let's rerun and see. See if it'll work with what's here. So you got a container registry. And log analytics workspace is here, though it seems to be having some trouble determining what's going on. Well, let's see if it picks it up, because we should be kind of incrementally deploying the resources, so it shouldn't be an issue if things exist already as long as they're in the right place. But we'll find out. We'll find out if this bicep's doing that or not. But this is a really good insight to what the day-to-day job is, doing DevOps and platform engineering. Some days it's just deploying things and seeing what breaks and then trying again. Okay, so let's grab this link again. Okay. Operational details. Something funny's happening with that. Okay, so this time it said log analytics workspace is there, container registry is there. So now we should be getting the container apps environment, should be deploying. Thinking about it. Just gonna. I don't know what's happening with this, 'cause it's being strange. It's not giving me that information about the deployment which is running, but we are seeing it here. So we're just gonna have to wait for this one. Let's see where we go. Let's take a drink. It's a bit hard to tell with no progress bar. That's why I was hoping that the deployment you can see something, but looks like not. Nope, failed. Container apps environment failed to deploy. Okay. Why is that? Please tell me. see if we can get anything from this one. You're still saying you're still deploying. Let's go back to the resource script itself. You can see the container apps environments here. So why is it failing at each stage? Is it maybe it's taking too long and it's timing out? Does it need to have a bit more the timeout? Like increase the timeout? Not that I think I have any control over that, but that's alright. No, it's still thinking about it, and we could still can't see any of the deployment. It's still in a running state. Yeah, it's deploying. Yeah, interesting that that's failing and coming up as failed. I wonder if this expects you to actually have run. Yeah, it's because saying that the managed environment's not found, but that's because it hasn't given it time to properly create. I wonder if it expects you to have run this manually beforehand, which I'm not a fan of. I don't like. I'd rather be able to run it through the pipeline from like the first step, and just because then that means you can always validate the pipeline as you're building it. Because once you've got the pipeline in place, you should be running everything through your pipeline. Alright, well let's... So this is now failed. Yeah, it's saying not found. And if we go in here, refresh, you can see it is found. It is here. But it's still provisioning. Again, I wish I could see something in here to show me what the deployments are happening inside the group. I wonder if I can see it from the subscription. So deployment, so if we're deploying from a subscription, here we go. So we can see it from subscription. But this is then just going through the same. I think that was the first one we went through. Why are you doing it in reverse time? Are you not even doing it? Okay, I don't know what the ordering here is. That was the last one. At least one of the deployments failed. Okay, well let's try. Well, first of all, let's go back and see if it has finished provisioning. No? No, it still thinks it's not there. Nope. Wrong. Resource script. We don't. The log analytics is now here. And that's fine. You know, the container registry. No, apparently container registry is not. Saying it's not here. Alright, let's actually go into the Azure CLI and have a look at what's going here. I'm just going to do a login from this tool. think something a bit funny is happening on this one. Let's see. What am I after? I'm after. Contain instances. I don't want to contain instances. Well, let's check ACR first. So I should just be able to yeah, I just want to get a show. So let's go. And then so the name on the resource group is this. The name of the ACR is that. Okay, so let's have a look here. So we're getting some details, getting a location, there's policy information, provisioning state. This has succeeded. Okay. Yet we can't see it. I'm just going to kick off that workflow again. I think something's happening with the portal where I'm not seeing things. Let's see, can I get... let's ask Copilot. See if it can give me the CLI. Okay. Let's see, can have show, and then we can give it the name, which is this. And the group. Choose this. Whoop. No, I don't. Go Copilot. I don't want you. Alright, so let's go check and. No, okay. Copilot. You lied to me. Okay, there's an extension that needs to be installed. Cool. So let's do that. While we're doing that, let's go check on how this pipeline is going. So it's giving the so each time we're running it, it's giving a tick. No, apparently we're provisioned. now it's deploying our apps. So let's run this. The environments, what we could do. Let's go grab. No, the app deploy failure. Lowercase. Okay. Alright, we'll go deal with that in a second because that's a pain. Got to not do any uppercases, gotta do all the lowercases because it doesn't like it. Okay. It's fine. We can see that's all provisioned now. Okay, great. So so how do we get this to force? So is it deploy? No problem, that's fine. So can we not deploy things? How do we do that? Because that's going to say failed deploying service bar invalid container app invalid name. Okay, which is fine. I get that, but how do I then tell it what names? I wonder if it's these names here. So let's try. Gonna just change these names up. Okay, but it's on the case with what we're after. Okay. Let's make sure we can still build without a problem. Yep, okay. So alright. So let's go push this and see how we go. It would be good actually. That was failed. Let's go back to if that's a requirement of container apps is the lowercase, then we should be enforcing that invalidation here. We should be checking this stuff here to enforce that we know it's going to fail. That's if this works. If that's where we're setting the names, we should be enforcing that those are made to be lower, like are requested to be lowercase, just to stop this happening. But that's right. That's some feedback. I mean, I might leave that after this session. I'm on the Discord for Aspire. Might ask if that's something we can do to validate it. I mean, it depends. Like, so if we're targeting something other than Azure Container Apps in the future, it may not be relevant, but we will see. Or it could just be a thing where you just should know. But I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of that you should just know. Cool. It's taking a bit longer on this one now. Didn't take that long before, but it's getting updating the manifest for the workloads. So the infrastructure should all be provisioned. There shouldn't need anything there. Alright, so it's downloaded the bicep and it's determined that there's no reason to do a change. The deployment state is the same, there are no changes, which is good. Now we're doing the deploy for the container apps. So I have noticed that that has become lowercase now. Cool. Alright, so it's doing its thing, so it's updating the table, so we should be able to, while it's doing that, go have a look at the container registry, which still thinks that it doesn't exist, which is not helpful. Well, we're getting a container app appearing now, which is good. That's annoying. Okay. Alright, so therefore it says that we have deployed the site, so we'll wait for them all to deploy. So it's also deployed it with a random long name, but that's fine. So that one has deployed as an internal, which is good. Did I mess up some spelling? Yes, I did. Like, that one looks different. It's missing an S, but that's fine. This one. We are getting everything deployed, which is good. Alrighty, so there'll be 3 APIs and the site. So we're just waiting for the container app to be updated, and we should be good. Now the question will be, can I see any of this through the portal, or is the portal going to be completely busted? And we should just be able to hit this endpoint, but we'll wait for everything to deploy first before we actually go hitting any of the endpoints. Alright. So that's telling us everything is a success, and we have a green build. Hooray! So if we refresh here, thinking about it. I think there's something up with the portal tonight, which is fine. Well, while that's refreshing, let's attempt to hit our front end site. There we go, that is running. Cool. And then what was the... put in a page which we had to directly navigate to, which was Game Master. So we will stick this on the end of here. Right, and if we hit this, there we go, we managed to, so that placeholder response is coming directly from that API. Great. So we know we've deployed front end, we've deployed the APIs, and we know there's communication from the front end to the API. Sweet. And yeah, so it looks like something is definitely broken with the portal tonight. Because things are unhappy. Alright, here we go. So we've got our 4 apps. Yeah, we can't get into the environment. That's okay. What's important though is we have deployed, we're running that. That's cool. We're getting that response from our API, and we have a CI/CD pipeline that's functional. Oh, thank you, HFS Kilmister, for the follow. HFS, yes, Kilmister. Hopefully I pronounced that right. It's been a long day. Hopefully I'm not messing people's names up. Cool, so we got ourselves a green build. Sweet. Let's go ahead and add a new paging. So I want to test, do we have the full CI/CD? So, Kilster, hope your day is been good or is being good, depending on where you are in the world. Alright. So, let's go ahead and in here, let's make a new file. We're going to call this probability appraisal. So we're just going to do exactly pretty much the same we did with the other one. We know that there's no AI at the end of this at the moment, but that's fine. I cannot type. I'm just going to drag this over so we get a reference. So using the models, using, so should include the JSON text in the general, like the imports, but do that later. And maybe the models too, because we're using them everywhere. And inject that service. Okay. Sure. It's fine. We'll do our code block. So I think this is pretty much going to be the same at the moment as the other one. Except for that it's not. So there's a probability which takes in a player action and returns a list of strings. That's fine. Cool, so that should be fine, and then we just come into here and we do our normal if is null. So if we've got null at the moment, it's null, it's loading. and then we can load the value and show the values there. Cool. And what we might actually do, just to make it a bit easier, where do we find that? That's in our, that's our host. Where is our site menu? In shared, I believe. Nav menu. Alright. We'll just go ahead and make 2 more nav items. Nav link class equals nav link ref equal to, that's our game master. What's it doing here? Yep, that's fine. And then we'll do the same for the probability page we just made, which okay, should be fine. Build, and we'll run it locally. Okay, and let's start it up. So we will go and grab the dashboard, run that locally. Cool. So this is definitely something, I should fix this misspell as well. But definitely something I think I'm going to ask the Aspire group is if we can have a validator on our names of our services to enforce lowercase, just so we don't run into that again. So we'll pop open the site, and you can see now we've got our game master there. Probability failed. What failed? No registered service type. Okay, cool. Means I forgot to put it here. I did. Thank you, Copilot. That's exactly what I wanted. So let's reload. Alrighty, reloading now. Should be good. Oh, something broke there. Something still broke. Response code indicated a 404. Okay, what have I messed up here? Okay, so I'm calling that. What should I be calling? Let's use... Oh, that's cool. I haven't looked at the logging for this yet, but this is super useful. So I can see logging with it all running, and I can see why there's a 404. Can I see a trace? Can see the traces. And that's telling me that it's trying to hit this. So I think what's happening, we go look at the Swagger, because the endpoint is calculate, not probability. So now I wish this was hot loading. That would be cool too. I don't know how you do that specifically. No, don't think so. Yeah, don't know how you would achieve hot loading with that, but that would certainly be a cool and useful thing to have, especially since you're running it through like an app host. If you could tell the app host to reload, that would be cool. but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're doing a bunch of other stuff first. Cool. Alright, so we're up and running again. Pop to the website. No? Okay, what have we got? Issue here. Could not be converted to that. Okay, I'm most probably returning something entirely different from this. What am I returning here? Returning a player action. I'm not returning a list of strings. I'm returning a player action. Now you're gonna complain at me that this could possibly be a null. So you gonna let me do that? No, okay. So let's go that, and then we will turn player action. So for player action response, and that's good. Complain, and actually the way we get around that is we tell it it could be nullable. That way we get through that. Cool. So, okay, so that's that. That should fix that. Then we need over here. Response is that. Oh, no, it's not a list, is it? It's just go, and then instead of a for each, it's just action description dot. And then lowercase. Okay, let's reload, rerun, see if that's fixed our issues. Oh, getting a false, but should be getting a description. Okay. Description should be testing and the outshone should be false. Let's go check. Let's go check the API and see. Yeah, description. And we're sending, like, forcing the outcome to be. Oh, that's not an exception. Alright, still. Alright. So calling the outer service text completions. That. And the we get text completions, because I think what was happening here is it's failing horribly, because it's going to be. What I'm going to do actually, just for the moment, is this. Actually, no, I won't do it that far. We'll do it here, and we'll just say 50. So we're just forcing it to 50, so it should be dynamic in coming back. Alright. And away we go. Are we getting any errors? We're not getting any errors. Okay, so it's not throwing exceptions. Let's go and see. So that seems to be functioning fine. Alright, I think it's time to do debug. Let's debug and work out what's happening here. So I'm going to break inside of the API there. Also going to break here when we load this page. Oop, no, I didn't want to do that. That's gonna mess up, because that did not do what I wanted it to do. So stop that. We need to, we're not loading site, we are loading the app host. Because you run the app host to run all the other things around it. Okay, so now everything is running. And we can come back here and reload our page. And I'm just going to go to the base page, hit probability. If we go back here, we'll hit this, so we should now be able to step through. So we get our player action, so we have our description and our outcome, and we're going to post that JSON. So now we're in the API, we can see the pass through player action says testing. That's fine. And the probability int, and we were unsuccessful. That's fine. So that will be, outcome will be false. Description should be testing. And we should be returning this object. And then if we go back, because I didn't catch, we have an issue. Alright, just took a minute to come back. Let's continue on that. Okay. Why are we getting that? Okay. Stop what we're doing. Stop what we're doing. First things, let's go check the model. Let's see if I've done something silly like not allowing it to be set. No, we have both a get and a set. Why are we not parsing correctly? see. I want to see. Okay, let's see what. Stop everything. Let's see what's coming back in that response string. 'Cause we know. Go back to the API. Because we're creating a new player action. Just taking that original player action's description. So we know we're returning a response correctly here. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, cool. So let's go and debug again. Okay, that's should be running. Let's go. Yep, that's all running. What we might do, let's go check this one, and we'll say testing string, and we'll execute, and that's still actually giving us the response. Can we get it to return? There we go. It does return true sometimes, 50% of the time. Cool. So that's working. Okay, so now if we go off to the side, and we hit probability, we should be able to now just skip through. So I want to step over that. So that's fine. And now when we deserialize this here, we are losing the string. Aha. Why are we losing the string when we deserialize that? I'm gonna ask Copilot. See if it knows. Alright, so I can't think off the top of my head why. Okay, do we have the property name? Let's try that. Let's try that. That can certainly be sometimes a thing, which can happen with JSON. And we've got to add in because it's interesting that outcome is fine, but stop all of that and let's try again. Hit here, continue. Alright, step over, we can see the response type, we hit that, there we go. That was the issue, was because the description here is lowercase. Of course outcome is also lowercase, but it seems to be okay with that because it's the only bool. Alright, so now if we continue, we can remove these breakpoints, continue, and if we go back to our page, we'll get our result. Cool. Alrighty. So that's cool. Let's stop all that. Let's now add that to our repo. Right. Another thing I want to change before I went and did that. Inside the app host, I'm going to go change that name because it's missing an S and it looks weird. Wait, can I do a branch check because I haven't done the commit? Let's say calc did I change that? I can't see if I'm on a different branch or not. Am I on a different branch? Yes, so push that branch up to start with. I don't know why that didn't get. Oh. Remote should not exist. What are we doing? What are we doing? Yeah, that did not do what I wanted it to do. I wanted to try and do the proper workflow where I push it to a branch. But if I and now I'll switch to the branch, but that's fine. I can go delete this branch. I don't need it. That's fine. Cool. Let's go check out the repo. Should it have kicked off a build? Yep, we've kicked off a build. I'm gonna go look at that infrastructure, and that's fine because there will be nothing to change. So that's good. And now we're deploying. Now this will be interesting actually. I have changed the name of one of the container apps, so I wonder what that does. If I change that name in the middle of it, will it remove the one that's no longer named? Or will it leave it there? So we also don't know what happens with revisions at this point either. So we'll see. Okay, still doing the game master one. Let's go check the Azure portal just in case anything is woken up. Still Oh, we actually have a container apps environment that we can kind of see. Kind of. What about the registry? Alright, things are starting to come together. So that's why we're seeing those containers there now. Okay. Now it is deploying this service. So I wonder if it's going to leave the other service in place. Which would prefer it not to, but I guess non-destructive is generally better. Because we can always go in and remove it ourselves. So wait for that to deploy. And I guess our host should have the new name, so when we go to referencing it, we should be getting the new service when we're actually deploying. When we're actually hitting the service, it'll go to the new service name rather than the old one. So that should be fine. Did we deploy? Yep, looks like we have deployed. So we go back here. And yeah, so it's left the old container app there. So that's fine for the moment. Cool, alright, and then we should from here have all of our endpoints. So now if I go, I'm gonna give you a link. I'm gonna be, no. I should just be able to do this. So we should be able to hit that API, hit that, that's good. Then we hit this one, and then that one is working as well. Great. So we've made that update, we'll push that change. Our CSC is working. Cool. And what else? So we also have, so we now also have visibility over the bicep as well. So we go in here, we can see there's now an infra folder which has the bicep being generated. Cool. So I wonder, not for tonight, but I'm trying to think if there's a good way for us to, if we needed to, in here, put in extra infrastructure. So we know we're deploying the deploying the actual managed environment. If we wanted to supply our own virtual network, so if we were plugging this into a further network, we should be able to provide that in here. So we should be able to come in here and modify this bicep to make it fit within an existing environment. An environment, I mean a broader Azure tenant rather than a container apps environment. So, and then from a developer point of view then, what does the developer really need to know when building this stuff? Interesting that it gives us, I didn't see these before, but these template YAMLs. Okay, but so from a developer point of view, they need to know the projects they're building, which they should. That's all good. and which ones need to reference what, and then which ones have the external. So in this case, external HTTP endpoints, though do we have an option for with, I can't type, with, what's with annotations, endpoint. Yeah, so we can do like normal HTTP endpoints, and we could maybe handle the ingress separately, egress separately. So if we go and look here, so we can see the apps in here. We don't have any services. So we know this one is the one with the ingress. So that would be the one to see if we could do the limit the ingress to a VNet to apply the internal settings true on the container apps environment. So if we had, so we know we're not using Dapper at the moment at all, but I'm sure we could. We could add identity provider, secrets. But I think the first one's going to be, how do we set this up networking wise? It would be with something like with, is there an internal? No. So there's no definition for with internal. Can we see, how does this get built if we do the with external? Do this reading strokes, because this is in the resource builder. Because yeah, if you just use with HTTP endpoints, it would do it internally. Then how would we set? The ingress? Because that's being set in here in this YAML template. But this is being generated for us. So I don't think this tells us anything about, oh no, egress. Okay, so I have to go look at what does the template actually look like for deploying an internal Azure Container Apps site, so an Azure Container app internally to access a VNet. So you can see here that if you just turn external off, then they just become the same as the others. Which, if we go back and look at this one, we say ingress, and we can see that's limited to this. Positive internal settings set to turn on container apps environment. So that might be an environment. So that's the whole environment. Where do we set that? Is it the workload profile? No, it shouldn't be the workload profile. I'll have to research that one a little bit. Go research that one and figure out how do I link that together. But for now, things are working. We've managed identity. All our logs are coming into here as well, which is fine. Cool. Alrighty. Well, I think I'm going to call it here for tonight. I think we accomplished some good stuff. Anyone is interested in following with this little project as it continues to progress, because I will be coming back to this. I will throw the link to the repo in the chat, so across YouTube and Twitch. Cool. So yeah, feel free to jump on those repos, have a look at what I'm doing. I've got a few more Aspire things I want to do, but I also am going to try and do some other stuff as well. Got some plans for doing a series of kind of stuff for YouTube, so there'll be like what is DevOps and things like that, but I also want to do some more basic kind of how do I set up OICD with GitHub, how do I deploy Azure Container Apps, just infrastructure outside of something like Aspire. And then I also have a bit of a side project I've been working on for a while to get running as an ongoing thing where I want to try and build front-end and back-end APIs in many different languages as possible, so not just .NET. But I'm enjoying Aspire. I like what it's doing. There's a few more things I want to explore with it, so I think I'm going to stick with it for a bit. So next time I'll most likely have a look at how do I get a message queue plugged into this as kind of an extra service, so not a service that I've written, but I need to use. Maybe it's also a database. I might throw that in as well. And then I want to actually look at what is required to build our own component. So build a very simple system which we can stick in a container, and then build a component in Aspire, and how can I use that? That'll be fairly in depth and pretty much into the weeds and into the deep depths of how Aspire works, which should be interesting. Cool. So hope everyone has a great Friday when they get there, and a great weekend when they get there as well. And I will catch you all most likely next week at this stage. Well, everyone have a good one. See ya.